Welcome to WagerTalk TV. Kelly Stewart at Kelly in Vegas, if you guys don't already know who I am. Brian Leonard at B Leonard Sports on Twitter. And Marco D'Angelo, I still have not come up with a clever name for him yet.
I have lots of names I've called him.
Well, that I believe. But Marco D'Angelo at Marco in Vegas. All right, guys. So I wake up the other morning and I've got 85 text messages about what's going on in Major League Baseball. And I finally did a little bit of research and I'm like, so it kind of sounds like that maybe the leagues want to take away any kind of competitive advantage that handicappers may have. They're using the blanket term of integrity, of course, because this hasn't been going on for the last 70 years. That being said, Marco, I'm going to let you explain it a little bit more and maybe kind of elaborate on how it's going to affect handicapping baseball.
Well, there's two parts to this story. The first part is that Major League Baseball is now requiring all teams to submit their official lineup for that day 1 hour. They have to have it in 1 hour before game time. So all of these are going to go to the league. The league then, because they have partnered with MGM to be the official partner of Major League Baseball, they are going to give those official lineups to MGM. They will be the first book that actually knows the lineups. Now, realize the lines are already out. We already speculate.
That's what I'm wondering. So they're already out.
They're already out. But when you have those, if a key player's out of the lineup, and it's going to be really important, I think, on the getaway days, because a lot of times managers will sit a star player for rest when they're on one of those Wednesday or Thursday games on the road and they're then traveling the next day. They'll let them rest. So if you're projecting the lineup, there's a big difference if your big slugger is in or out of the lineup. Now we're going to know officially, but MGM will be the first to do it. So I think it's going to create a situation. We used to remember the days of Pinnacle where everybody watched the board to see what Pinnacle did first. If they moved a line, everybody jumped on it. Well, now I think MGM is going to be that kind of Pinnacle approach where they're going to be watching a game an hour before game time to see if MGM makes a move on a line that's already been out.
Okay, so for example, whenever I wanted to go bet baseball in the past, you got the starting lineups with the pitchers, right? So you go up and you say, okay, cool, I either want action or I want the listed pitcher. How is that going to affect?
It's not any effect with the pitcher. It's with the regular lineup.
Okay.
The way they used to do it is you would tell your sports writers, and the sports writer would get on Twitter and he goes, this is today's starting lineup. And whoever got that information first was able to work on that. And let's say Trout wasn't playing. All of a sudden, you're betting against the Angels because Trout's not playing, and you get in first and you get the better numbers. The problem I have with the way it is now is MGM's getting the information first. Who's to stop somebody from MGM to betting at the opposing sports books that have the stale line based on Trout being in the game and he's not in the game? That's an integrity issue against what they're trying to do. So they're getting that unfair advantage of the MGM having it.
So you're saying I need to be buddies with somebody over at the MGM Sportsbook? I've been spending all this time at Westgate and Golden Nugget.
I'm looking to take this job. But the thing is, the MGM is going to, as Marco pointed out, they will be the first to move the lines. So the other people the other sports books will not know who's actually in there until MGM moves the lines. And then they'll say, okay, well, look at the lines. Obviously, this guy's not playing. And then they will send out that information. So whereas before you used to watch the Pinnacle lean or where the sharp money is, now for baseball, and this is only an hour before the game. These lines come out overnight. You could bet into them. You're assuming certain players are going to play, and that's the way it's always been. It's going to be very similar to what the NBA is now, where there's so many people being rested in the NBA and being held out for who God knows what reason is. A lot of money doesn't come in until the last hour.
You're not going to make the playoffs, so you're just going to sit on the bench?
Yeah. Kevin Love is, he's healthy enough to play 35 minutes, but he's not healthy enough to play 2 games in 3 days or whatever. So, and that's what it's going to be. And to me, it sounds like a disintegrity issue more than an integrity issue.
Now, you might have the reverse effect here because one of the things with MGM, we talk about different, books on the strip. Which books we deem as sharp books, which ones we deem as more recreational or square. Of all of the strip books, when I look at the board, to me, MGM is the squarest book because most of their business is coming from tourists. All their properties up and down the strip from, Bellagio all the way down to Mandalay Bay and MGM, you're getting tourists there. And think about their places around the country. They're all locations that have gambling and tourists traveling there. So when you talk about a game that, are they going to make that big move? Like, let's say they have a game and you mentioned Trout. That's a perfect example. And they have that game shaded to them being a bigger favorite before they have the information. They're going to have to turn around now and make a backpedal. Are they going to be willing to move a line 20 or 30 cents off of maybe they were 10 cents high on the market already? I just want to see if we're going to be able to find some
snippets here and there,
where
like
we
little
can do some
cherry pick.
arbitraging
Yeah.
or whatever.
If you're a professional bettor, why would you want to bet at MGM? Because MGM is going to have what the original lineup, what the real lineup is. And so instead of betting there, just wait until they change the lines and bet at any of the other ones in town, the coast, the stations, the ones that are more square, but they're not on the strip, as opposed to betting there. And so actually, this is going to cost, I'm assuming it's going to cost MGM some money in their amount of money that's being bet for baseball, because I'm not going to sit at the MGM and bet into the correct numbers. I'm going to play the slower moving numbers at the other places.
But remember, the lines are going to be up all day. People are going to be betting the numbers before that hour mark, or are we going to change the way we bet baseball? And
That's kinda what I'm
we're going to
wondering.
bet an hour before baseball?
It's gotten to the point where overnights is the way to bet. And people are going to bet overnights. They're going to watch that as soon as the lines come out at 8 a.m. Eastern, Pacific. They're going to watch those line moves, maybe bet again, and then they're going to bet again in the last hour. It's going to be a different time. You may end up with both sides of a game with plus money EV on both sides, which is, I'll take that.
All day.
Yeah.
All right. Great stuff from both guys. Make sure you like and share our videos. Follow us on WagerTalk's Twitter @WagerTalk.